Hey everybody, Tony Rucco here from bowlingballcom with another episode of Talk Bowling. Over the last 6 months or so, we've received quite a few questions about the USBC rule changes that are going to take effect in 2020. A few of them are going to directly affect your equipment, some of them just affect some of the things you can use while you're bowling. We figured we'd go through some of those and explain it to you and make sure that you understand what you need to do. With the way everything's going right now, it looks like some of us may not get back to league bowling until the next season, which is when some of these changes are going to take effect. So we'll just go through them real quick. If you have any questions, make sure you let us know. You can send us an email to questions@talkbowling.com. You can comment on this video. You can send us a message through Facebook or Instagram. Any of those ways will get a question to us. So let's just go through this. I have some notes here from the USBC. Effective back in January 1st of 2020, the USBC made a change to the static weights that are allowed on a bowling ball. So it previously was 1 ounce, side weight, finger weight, thumb weight. They increased that to 3 ounces. So what that does now is it eliminates the need for balance holes. Most times those holes were used to bring the ball back into static balance and to get under that 1 ounce rule. So by increasing that, there's really not many situations where you need that hole to get it back into static legal. So that change already took effect. You may have noticed that your pro shops aren't putting those little weight holes in the side of your bowling ball anymore. A lot of times those were used just to get the weight back. Sometimes they were used to increase flare. With some of the newer bowling balls, the need for weight holes was very minimal. We didn't need to increase flare any because the balls are hooking so much on their own. So that change already took effect. Now, kind of spiraling off of that, basically what's happening is effective August 1st. Yes, effective August 1st of 2020, you will not be able to have a balance hole in your ball anymore. So what does this mean for what you already have? So your existing equipment, if it's a ball you're going to keep and you're going to use in USBC competition, you need to go into your local pro shop and have them plug up that balance hole. It's going to change the static weights of the ball a little bit. It shouldn't affect the ball motion at all. A lot of times those holes were small enough that they weren't inducing any type of flare, changing the ball motion at all. So those holes are all going to need to be plugged up. Moving forward, and most pro shops have already started this because the rule of the static imbalances went in, your new bowling balls won't need a balance hole anymore. So if you see that CG is kicked way out and previously you had a layout like that and there was a big hole in the side of the ball, there's no need for that hole anymore. But you do need to have all of those holes plugged up by August 1st, 2020 if you're going to use them in USBC competition, league play, tournament play, any of the above. It's a really simple process. It's not very expensive. Your pro shop is probably well aware of what's going on and they're ready to do that plug work for you. So make sure that when you come back for league next season, hopefully some of you get back out there before that, but if not, make sure all your bowling balls are ready to go by having that weight hole plugged. The other change is that they're making a oil absorption change. Now this is more from the manufacturer side, so they just changed the specs on the oil absorption rate that a ball manufacturer has to follow when they're making the ball. This isn't going to really affect the bowlers in general. Nothing you can do about this. This is coming straight from the manufacturer. Those balls that were produced prior to that rule goes into effect August 1st, 2020. All the balls prior to that are getting grandfathered in. So none of your bowling balls are not going to be legal as long as you fall within all the other rule changes. Now it's important to note the weight hole rule goes along with the rule that says you can only have up to 5 holes for gripping purposes. So what this means is they're allowing you a hole for each finger. So if you use a claw grip where you're putting all your fingers in the hole, that you're fine. What it does get rid of is for two-handed bowlers or no-thumb bowlers that were using that triangle layout that has come around the last couple of years. We've done some videos on it. Those balls are no longer going to be legal. Essentially, you'd only be using 2 of the 3 holes that are in the ball, which means the other hole turns into a weight hole, which falls under that weight hole rule. So if you have any balls with a triangle layout, you're going to need to get that plugged and re-drilled to fall back into specification. You are allowed to have a vent hole in each of the gripping holes, so If you're using a vent hole in your thumb or in a finger on a Sargista grip or something like that, those are perfectly legal. Basically, if there's a hole large enough for you to get your finger into, it has to be used for gripping purposes. So we used to have some people that put a pinky hole in the ball, and then they would only use that pinky hole maybe to shoot spares or vice versa. That's not going to work anymore. You're going to have your finger in the hole if it's in the ball. So that goes along with that whole weight hole thing. So if you're using triangle grip, or if you're a two-handed bowler and you use some layouts that had that hole down in the lower quadrant, you're going to have to get that hole plugged up. Recently, they've talked about changing the hardness rules. Again, this is going to come mostly from the manufacturer side. So at the time of approval, a bowling ball must currently have a hardness rate of 72D or higher. They're talking about raising that specification to 73D or higher. This is not going to affect you as a bowler. This is, again, from the manufacturer side. It's going to limit. They've only seen a handful of balls that fell below that spec, and they don't think anyone was doing it intentionally. It was happening over time to certain types of cover stocks. So that rule change isn't really going to affect anyone. Just to go over, when they did all these rules last year on August 1st, 2019, you are only allowed to use a dry towel to clean bowling balls during competition. So you can no longer have anything on your towel, spray any product on the towel while you're bowling. Before and after, you're fine. During, it has to be a dry towel. So I hope some of these helped explain a few things. If you have any questions, we're here to help. Please feel free to let us know. Again, for Talk Bowling, you can email us at questions@talkbowling.com, comment on our Facebook, comment on the YouTube video. If you have a specific question, if you're a bowlingball.com customer and we drilled your ball, or you just need a few more clarifications on how this works, feel free to email us. You can email us at support@bowlingball.com. One of our ball reps will be more than happy to walk you through anything that needs to happen, and we can go from there for you. So at this time, just remember bowlingball.com is here for you. We are up and running. We hope that everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. If you have any questions, please let us know. And remember, bowlingball.com, it's where bowlers go. Free shipping, every item, every day.